please post that you can actually see my slides. Yes, okay. I'm glad we were on slide 3 when Kate called me. I appreciate that, Kate. This is when we need to have a co-host that can actually call me out versus a phone call. But anyway, all right. So first thing, all right, let's quickly. You've heard me. This is a slide. You'll get the slides with my recording. Avoid entering personal, proprietary, or confidential data. Okay, you got that? Okay, very important. If you're unsure, better be safe than sorry. Okay, next one we covered. Validating AI-generated content. AI output needs careful verification. Human is always in the loop when you're using AI. Okay, don't just sort of do stuff and just copy and paste. Not good. Okay. Meeting note takers. This is when Kate called me. Very, very valuable. Okay, and there are a couple, 3 of them that are approved under the Home Services of America Employee AI policy. I want to share those 3 with you and share when you should use it and when it's prohibited to use it. Okay. All right. So a lot of you subscribe to note takers. I saw the Otter one pop on, and that's one of the approved ones. So here are the 3 approved AI note takers under Home Services of America policy. First is Google Meet. I want to share what Google Meet does. It's probably the quickest thing anyone that organizes or attends a Google Meet, the notes are automatically captured. Okay, and I'm going to probably show you a few meetings that I've attended that have the notes captured, but you will see where it exists in the calendar invite. So Google Meet is automatic approved. Okay, so that's probably your default note taker. If you organize meetings or if you attend meetings, it's in the calendar invite as of this morning. Okay, and all of you should have Gemini accessible now. It was turned on at this morning at 8 o'clock. Some of us had access early, but all the employee base are verified with a couple of OAs just to ping them, and they have see Gemini in their setup. Okay. The second one is Plod. This is what I use. It's a little credit card style device, and it sticks, again, doesn't mean I'm recommending it, but it is approved. Okay. Sticks on the back of my phone. I can take it off, place it, and record it, and it generates summaries. Otter AI. Those are the 3 that are approved AI note takers. However, for the majority of the audience that's here, Google Meet is enough, right? Because especially it's on a computer, of course, these type of devices, if you're sitting in a physical meeting, it probably helps you capture it. Now let's talk a little bit about acceptable use versus prohibited use. Public meetings that you're having, for the most part, are acceptable use. And more importantly, you got to have consent. If I'm using something like this, I can't just turn it on and put it in the pocket and not get consent of people that you're in the room with. Okay, so make sure you get consent when it's recorded. Obviously, with Google Meet, it shows that it is being recorded, but you can turn it off, transcription. Prohibited use, if it's a company confidential meeting, okay, where sensitive topics are being discussed, that is not a place where AI note takers are allowed. Okay, that is part of the policy. So be very careful where you use it and where you don't use it. Okay, again, it's common sense, but I just wanted to call it out because sometimes common sense might not be that common, especially with me. So I need to read that stuff, right? So be careful with policy. Okay, enough of the policy stuff. Kurt will be thrilled that I actually covered that. But okay, so let me kind of show you a couple of things. First, I think you can see this. If you kick off a new meeting, and this is where it's going to be a little touch and go. If you can still see me and hear me, post in the chat, because I am starting a Google Meet with Zoom, and it's probably collaborating from our resources. Okay. Can you see the screen with me? Your voice faded out. It's okay. Okay. The light blue stuff is where it automatically takes the notes. Okay. Automatically takes the notes. This one right here. And when you finish the meeting like that, that blue button on the top right of Google Meet, if you organize a Google Meet going forward, the blue button on the top right of the meeting is automatically taking notes. And I want to show you what it does once the meeting is done. show you an example of a meeting that I had recently so I can pull up. It will put it in the meeting minutes right here. And it will be called, as you can see, video project, that was the name of the meeting, notes by Gemini. And it's a file in your Google Drive. So this is a meeting I had recently with a couple of my direct reports talking about video. And I want to point out a couple of things, okay? And it's a very comprehensive, it's probably the best note-taking thing virtually I have seen in a while, okay? So Google Meet is great for that. But it makes some spelling errors, by the way, okay? So you just have to read it, eyeball it. Like, for example, that's not the spelling of the Hokason office, as you all know. Again, something to be aware of so you can clean up the minutes. Most meetings is fine, but if it's an important meeting, you want to obviously read it. This is where human in the loop always comes up. So this is automatic. If you host a Google Meet or you attend a Google Meet, it will be in your meeting minutes, okay? Something to note. Okay. The next thing I want to show you really quickly, I want to keep skipping stuff from one place to another, okay? Okay. And it was probably struggling with my voice because I was doing a Google Meet on top of a Zoom because it's probably, taking over that resource stuff. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is your settings. So all of you now, I'm in Gmail right now, all of you should see this Ask Gemini now, which I'm going to go over all the tools as we go through it. But you should see that. But I want to point out settings. And if you go under settings, click see all settings. And if you scroll down under settings, you can just make a note, settings. You will see smart features, okay? This will be automatically turned on for everybody as a default. Just confirm if it's not, just check the box. This is what you would want to click on, Manage Workspace Smart Feature Settings, and turn on the next button also. It was not turned on for me. I had to turn it on. And if you read this, when you turn this setting on, you agree to let Google use your workspace content to actively personalize your experience in other Google products, okay? It helps you make it a more personalized experience. Again, it's all under the workspace. None of the stuff you do is training the model because that's the enterprise account we have. All good, but these two buttons should be on and I would hit click save, okay? We've done meets. So let's kind of handle Gmail here for a second, okay? I want to scroll over here and pull up Gmail, okay? And click the button. Anytime you click the button, this right box pops up. And it's a good practice for you, as you can see my email flying in here, but you get the idea. Okay, so I want you to focus on, when you click this box, there's a few things we can say, okay? One, you can add a prompt here, more on that in a second. What can Gemini do in Gmail? This is probably a very good thing for you to do as you start to use it. So let me just click on it. Let's see what it tells us. Okay, what can Gemini do in email? Summarize an email thread. Find information from previous emails. Okay, it can do a bunch of things, but let's try to do something, okay? Find me all emails with over 10 MB attachments. Okay, I'm just going to give it that. And it should, if it's behaving, sort my email that you see there for all of the 10 MB or above. And there they are, okay? Starting with Melissa's email to me, May 9th. But all of them have 10 meg or more attachments, okay? So you can do things like that here. The other thing you could do, if you want to learn, what is the Gmail command I can use to search? Again, learning, right? What I did there was a prompt and it just showed it to me. What is the Gmail command I can use to search for 10 MB attachments? And it'll give me the command, right? The user is in Gmail app, use size : 10 MB. So let's make sure it actually works. So I want to go back to my inbox, same thing. And if you recall, Melissa's email was the top one on May 9th, and there they are, same thing. So you could learn through this to learn about things you could do and get smarter in Gmail, okay? It's all here. There's a lot more to this than what I'm just showing you, but that's a good place to start, okay? And the next one I want to do is search. So let's kind of go back here. I'm going to click my inbox. How many of you sometimes search for a certain email from certain somebody and it's sometimes hard to find? Okay, you could do those things also. Okay, show me the most recent email from Alex. Again, you know how to give the full name. Again, I did a little bit of testing from Alex about nominating agents for the HSOA Tech Summit. Okay. And I could just converse like that and it'll show me the subject, finding emails. It sort of goes through it. And I found several emails from Alex. Okay. The most recent one was May 7th, 7:02 p.m. Okay. So you could have a conversation with it here. You could have it write emails here. But let me switch now to the actual email. Okay. So let's say I go to this email that I was going to delete and you can hit reply. Let's talk about what's possible here. Okay. You should all have this button now, help me write at the bottom. Okay. When you hit reply. This is also in the mobile app, which time permitting, if not, we'll do it first thing next week. I'll show the mobile app as well for Gemini that has that option. So if I hit help me write, I can simply say, write a short note to unsubscribe me from this email. Let's say I do that. Okay. So I can hit create. And you can sort of give it, please be advised I'm writing request my email to remove it. Look at that formal. And I can say refine, elaborate, or formalize. I can do that. I can help it click and recreate, do all that. And if I hit insert, it just inserts the email there. Obviously, you can customize it before you hit send. Okay, so those are things that are possible right with help me write, which is a Gemini function based in the email. Okay, all right, let's see. All right, so I think we're so far so good. People can see me and hear me. The chat's not blowing up, which is good. All right, so Gemini for Google Gmail, there's a lot to do there, but start with interacting with the star, for lack of a better word, right here. What does Gemini do in Gmail? Do that. Okay, so next one I want to do is go to Google Docs. Same concept. I'm going to move through the Google Suite, and then we'll do a couple of things before we wind down, okay, in session one. Okay, same thing with Google Docs. If you click this, you could do, with Gemini and Docs, you can do write and refine content. You can ask for suggestions. One of the things I like is this button that shows up again, help me write, flows through most of these things. So you could have it click, give me a high level. This is a Google Pro, GMB audit we did for an agent team. It's a 30-page document. Give me a high level summary of the key highlights in this document. Okay, if I could just do that, and it would, again, it's showing you what's possible. I'm not going to insert it because the key highlights of the, okay. And it did that, okay? Now, this is important to read here. This is a creative writing aid. It's not intended to be factual. So again, human in the loop, right? You can refine with a prompt, you can change it, and if you're satisfied, click insert, and it will insert it in the document, okay? The other thing that I like also is if you highlight a section, you can also do this right here, refine. If I did shorten this, it will just go take that paragraph and shorten it to like 4 lines from whatever it was, 8 lines. So all those things are possible. I'm not going to mess with it because this document was actually shared with Dale Kozak. So help me write is good, right in the document. Obviously, you could do stuff here with Gemini in Google Docs and have it do more with what it's seeing on the left, okay? You could do that. Same thing with Sheets. Okay, let me move on to Sheets, and then we'll go to Slides, and then we'll go to a couple other tools. Okay, so this is a whole sheet, right? Again, you can do the Gemini side gear. But now that you're in Sheets, you can also do something. If you struggle like I struggle sometimes with creating formulas, so if you type an equal sign, see this generate formula with Gemini, you could click that, and it says create a formula, and I can say, give a formula that calculates the percentage of all very valuable in this column. Okay. This is a survey I did for some presentation I did at some point, but it was very valuable, valuable, not valuable at all, waste of my time. Okay, this is good for you to see. Sometimes it says, I'm still learning and can't help with that. It's okay. Okay, it's going to get better. Create a formula that counts the total number of responses in the sheet. It gave it before, but now it struggles. So sometimes it's not, AI is not going to be your savior all the time. Okay, so like see this, it sort of gives you formulas sometimes using the function wizard. You click the cell when you want to add. So if I did this, let's try it again. Create a formula that counts the number of responses. Okay, let me see. Let's see what it says. Is it 516? Okay, look at this. It gave me a formula now. Count A formula responses -1. The -1 is probably for the header row. So it creates formulas. You can play with it. It has that intel. And here's the thing I want to make sure you all get with AI and Gemini in particular, no different with ChatGPT also, is it is getting better every week, month. Versions are getting better. So as you start to use it, today it might say, I can help you. Tomorrow it may be able to help you. So give you that benefit. Okay, so let me go to slides. Now, some of you might say, I don't use Google Slides. It's okay, just, you could take a coffee break now, but it's some people do in the company. So I want to cover all the places where it's available. This deck I built this morning, again, was with Google Slides, all of it. I just pasted the text I want. So here, if I click this, I can say, how does Gemini help with Google Slides? So you can see it probably creates slides, it creates images. Gemini and Google Slides is to help the user summarize the points. Okay, so it gives you stuff it can do, but let's create a new slide. Okay, how about that? If I say, create a new slide for accepted use and prohibited use with Gemini in Google Workspace. Now I can give it more context, but this is a generic slide I wanted to build. And let's see what it comes up with, okay? Let's give it a whirl here. Just a sec. Nobody's watching you, Gemini. There's only a few hundred people waiting for your response. Just a sec. Okay. Digging into its archives. Okay. This is what it came up with, okay? Gemini usage guidelines. Plot AI tools that are approved for use. All AI need. Okay, so if I insert this, it would just add it as another slide. Okay. Now, if I gave it more context, like this is accepted, this is not prohibited, it just took all the content I've built in this deck and summarized it, usage guidelines. And this image is AI generated. You can ask it to build another image. Okay. I find that Gemini does better if you just ask it for an image. Like, for example, create an image. It does pretty good with when you say create an image. Create an image of a woman sipping coffee overlooking a busy street. Okay. Let's see what it does here. Okay. And hopefully we all had a cup of coffee. I've had like 3 cups of coffee this morning. There we go. Okay, look at that. Pretty good images, right? Look at this. I mean, if I add this one here, it's a pretty good image. Okay. Delete that. Let's see what this is. That's pretty good. All pretty good. And you can ask, I can preview it here too, like that. See that? Okay. Now we're not going to do that since that doesn't fit here. Okay. Coffee and AI doesn't fit. Okay. So that's the Google Suite. Now let me just cover one more thing before we sort of get away from slides and the Google Suite before we get to a couple other exciting pieces. Like I could go to Drive. It is also in Drive. Okay, now how you use it in Drive changes because there's all files and folders. So if you were to go to a specific folder, and I'm going to go to one, and I'm going to go to my raw recordings and go to a podcast episode, yeah, next week, Matt Windsor. Okay, so if I go here, and if you have a bunch of files, you can ask Gemini here, summarize this folder, okay? And it's looking through this. Let's see what it comes up with. This episode, this. So if you had like 10 documents, it could summarize it for you, okay? It also does a pretty good job if you go one level up, and there's folders here, right? There's a lot of folders. There's like, I've done 75 episodes. Again, these are all Drive folders. If I did this, that's a massive prompt because it's going to go through all my folders. Look at this. Raw folder contains over 56 files with various types, 31 files, and it's sort of going through all of them and kind of giving you a summary. Okay, that's possible. Again, based on what you're using it for. Gemini is available in Drive as well for you to do something. Okay. Okay. What I want to kind of go with now, let's see what's in the chat here. Will the person see that it is an AI generated email? Not unless you tell them. Okay, so let me kind of go to the tool that I want to kind of have you do embrace is Notebook LM. It's you see this, notebooklm.google.com. Okay, it is probably the most powerful tools in Gemini for me. Okay, and I'll demonstrate a couple of examples so you'll get it. Okay, so as you can see, I have a bunch of notebooks here. Okay, but I want to create a new notebook. Okay, and what Notebook LM, the value of Notebook LM is when you're trying to understand a piece of information or search through a piece of information for a specific item, especially if it's like a 100-page PDF, who's got the patience to read the whole thing? But if you add it as a source, it will digest it for you and you can simply chat with it. I'll give you a couple of examples, okay? I will create a brand new notebook. So this is a video I did. You can add videos to it. You can add PDFs, copy paste text, and the whole thing. So this was a recent email video weekly tip I did. It's only 10 minutes, but sometimes, if you don't want to even go through a 10-minute video, here's what you would do. So you would copy the link, okay? I've discussed 5 YouTube tactics that will benefit agents in this, okay? But what if I want to just quickly summarize what those tactics are? You're getting this, so I'm going to go here. Here's what you can add. You can add up to 300 sources, okay? They can be Google Slides, Google Docs, websites, YouTube, copy text, audio files, etc. Okay, so I'm going to paste just one, my video, okay, insert. And under sources, it will have it. I can chat with it. I simply can ask it what work. Okay, here's what I want to say. Create a simple guide to outlining the steps in this video. Okay, that's it. Okay, I'm chatting with it now, and it is simply saying, okay, based on the provided source, simple guide, consistency was one of the tactics I taught. Use both long form. Again, what did it do? It went through the entire transcript of the YouTube video, and how long did that take me? So if you've ever gotten like a 1-hour YouTube video, create a notebook for it and just get the summary and just read it, okay? If you want to kind of get the gist of it, okay? So that's one of many use cases you could use. You can also create a podcast with it if you want it under Studio. Click that, and it will generate a nice little podcast for you. And here's a couple of examples I've done. I want to show you this so it kind of piques your curiosity. If I can find that would be good, actually. Let me see. I have way too many notebooks. Podcast guests. Okay, this is the one. So I've added in the sources, you'll see all my YouTube videos. I didn't add all, but I've added like 32 of them. Okay. And here's the command I'm going to give it. What were the highlights? I had Andrew Jacobs from our Yardley Newtown office. What are the highlights of Andrew Jacobs episode? What are the top 3? Because he shared top 3 highlights of Andrew. So if I just add all my sources and I just keep this notebook LM ready. If I need to remind myself, I just go there Boom. Use AI for winning unique listings. Leverage AI for client communication, discovering and recommending. He's a big fan of Notebook LM, by the way. Those are the three things he talked about. After a while, I don't need to, it's so valuable to search for information quickly and easily. Okay. We also built a notebook for policies and procedures that is shared with our sales leaders. If you have a question on policies and procedures, it's just here, right? If I can find it, that would be good. There it is. Policies and procedures. So any documents you need to search on, most people I feel are looking for information. Where do I find information? So Notebook LM is a great way to kind of get comfortable with that, with all of it, and then some. Okay. So, and I just found out Notebook LM is also coming out with a app for your phone, so you can easily see all this stuff, ask questions versus logging on the website, etc. It's coming apparently May 20th, which is next week. So hopefully if it's live, I can demo it for you. Okay. All right. So let me see my notes and maybe eyeball the time. Okay. Um, okay. So let me kind of go to one other tool and then maybe do the mobile app, and then we should be done. So the raw recording, like this right hand, I call it for like a right bar, is good, but it sort of limits you sometimes because you can't have a clean slate to write something, create something, etc. So what I would also suggest you get comfortable with is gemini.google.com. So that takes you to almost a clear window where you can actually converse with Gemini and start to have it do things, write an email, do all of that, or a multi-part email campaign if you're writing some stuff. All of those things can be done here because it's a more of a clean slate for you to start something, okay? So let's do something because we talked about images earlier. I'm going to actually give you a little bit of a challenge as you start to embrace Gemini. So here's my prompt, by the way, and I will teach you how to prompt. All of those things are coming before we finish. I'll teach you a framework. So here's the prompt. Create an image of a 20-inch iMac computer placed on a desk made of polished dark wood. No matter how specific you are, sometimes it goes off the rails. Hopefully it goes off the rails a little bit so I can show you. A large yellow Post-it note is stuck on the top right of the corner reading, "Can Gemini help me with this?" Okay, there should be one Post-it note on the computer. Only one. The desk is positioned in front of a large, vibrant view of a street. People, car fairly visible. Okay. Let's see what it does. Let's see if it sticks to my prompt and gives me a pretty decent image. Okay. Because this is also ties to the challenge I want to have you do for yourself to learn Gemini. We're all on a journey here. Okay. Okay. Let's see what it did. Look at that image. Did it do a good job? Can Gemini, um, can help. Yeah, I think it messed up the words here. Can Gemini help with this? Okay, so let's just, this is what happens, right? This is always human in the loop. The Post-it note, but the image is pretty good. The text on the Post-it note is not spelled correctly. This is the going back and forth. This is the engagement you need to have. You just can't take it and go, right? Please make sure it reads can. All right, let's see what it does now. All right, just going to try to take another crack at it. Hopefully it reads its own creation that, and okay. Okay, so let's see what it did. It tilted the computer too. And can Gemini help me with this? But they had, so you got to go back and forth a little bit. So that's the beauty of the correction piece. It did a little bit correction, but help me with this. But there's another word there that shouldn't be there. So this is a great place, by the way, for you to create things, go back and forth versus the right gutter you have specific to docs, sheets, and things. Okay. The other one that I wanted to tease you with is deep research. Okay. This is probably a very, very powerful tool for you to do research on any topic. Okay. You remember the Google My audit for Dale Kozak team I shared? This. So let me go and show you that in the interest of time, because it takes about 6 to 10 minutes for the report to get done. Let me try to find you that audit. Okay, here we go. I think this is the audit I did for the Kozak team. Okay, there we go. So here's the prompt I gave it. Conduct a full audit, performance evaluation of the Google business profile. So if you're a sales leader, office administrator, I would encourage you to do an audit like this for one of your agents. Just pick one and just do it and get comfortable with deep research. Little homework assignment, okay? Remember that Post-it note? Can Gemini help me with this? And I'll include this prompt, okay? And in next week, I want to show you how to create right prompts like these that are pretty heavy. And all you'll need to do in your office, and again, if you're not in OA, in a brokerage and you're entitled, do a different type of thing, or you're, as a research project, so you understand how deep research capabilities are. So I basically gave it business profile for the Kozak team. I gave it the link. The objective is to set, I'll put the entire prompt. All you need to do is change the link and the keyword they want to do it for, and then just run a research project. And if you're not comfortable with this, do on some topic that you want to learn about. Doesn't matter. So what it did was I gave it that. It summarizes what you want. I clicked start research. It created the audit, and this is what it came up with. And I simply can click export to docs, send them the link. Literally, by the time you go make a cup of coffee and come back, you got a comprehensive report on a topic that you want to learn about or educate or add value to your agents. Okay. Great use case for deep research. Next week, I'll show you how you can leverage certain advanced features to build a prompt like this. That's for next week. Let me stop the share and also share with you. And by the way, if you create an AI image, I see a question in the chat. I want to share, hang in there. That question in the chat about AI policies is if you generate an AI image, no one can copyright that, including you. Okay. And if I were to, and this is probably bears a little bit of repeating, AI, if you use the same prompt as I did for that one we just did, which was create an image, that prompt, you will never get the same image. AI will generate a different image. So you cannot copyright AI images. And if you're using it, you can obviously say in the comments, image created by AI. Some of them are getting smarter, like tools, like I think Gemini is thinking about putting AI generated as a footnote to the image. That will happen. But if you want to disclose it, feel free to do so. Okay. So let me just share my phone. And I know we're coming up on time here. So let me share my phone and show you the Gemini app that I think. All right, so there's my phone. Let me share my screen. Okay, y'all should see my screen. A little crowded, but you should see it. Okay, somebody post in chat that you can see my phone. One of them, please. Yes, I see it. Thank you, Denise. Okay, Denise is first. All right, so okay, this is the AI app, Gemini. This is what you need, okay? It's available on iPhone and Android. So if you click that, again, it's the same, my Foxroach account. If I click this drop down at the top, I can see all the chats. See this, create an image that we just did online. It will show you the image that we just created. So all the chats flow. If you do something here, it flows back. You can also, very important, kick off projects right from here, okay? See this? You can do a deep research project just by typing it here and it'll get done, okay? So it's very convenient. You can upload images, you can take camera shots. The other one that I can't demo, but you should try it, because again, my microphone is tied to the Zoom session, This button right here will power up. If I click it, let's see what happens. It's probably going to complain. Yeah, it's going to complain because my phone thing is tied up. This is a live audio conversation with Gemini. You can just talk to it, okay? So I would encourage you to try that, okay? That's good. And then there's models. I'll cover the different models and when you should use what in the next session. But we are at time here, 12:42. So I'm going to stop the share and look to see if there are questions. Okay, Kate said we don't see your slides. Okay, I think those were covered. Well, I think we're good for questions. No questions. I have 3 minutes. This was meant to be an overview of all things where Gemini sits. Next week, we're going to take it up a notch a little bit and start to create things, teach you certain things about how to create content with the prompting framework. But from now to then, if you're up for a challenge, the mission, if you choose to accept it, is to do a deep research project on something that you want to learn about or pick an agent in your office. Next, create a notebook on Notebook LM, add a few sources, pick a video, big document, a PDF document. How about that NAR 140-page report for buyers and sellers that they put out? Okay, do that. I like Peggy's challenge. Create an image for the silver tsunami. Now, not everybody knows what that is, but if you've attended Jimmy Mackin's webinar, you know it. But the only way you internalize anything is you start to experiment. Some experiments will work, some won't work, but you'll be better off because you did them. Until next Tuesday, May 20th, may Gemini be your side, and hopefully you'll get a little bit more productive and have some light bulb moments as you start to use it. Great day, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care.